billion-dollar movies. In 2019, we reached a high point with 9 of them. 9! 8 Disney or Disney adjacent. No wonder the board of directors, by bringing back Bob Iger, are so eager to get things back to regular, right? Get back to business. Things were going so well, we were talking about the $2 billion club. But then the pandemic hit. In 2020, there were no billion-dollar pictures. In 2021, just one, although close to $2 billion. And then last year, we managed to get 3. Interestingly, the only one from Disney was from Fox, which Disney acquired, and then Paramount got on the board, and Universal. So how about 2023? Right now, it ain't looking so good for billion-dollar movies. With Marvel's Ant-Man, so far the highest-grossing Hollywood film to date worldwide at a tiny 461-esque million. Not even half a billion. Not even half. And we're trying to get to $1 billion. And after Shazam 2 just stumbled hard, fell flat on its face, with DC's soft reboot casting a huge shadow over the remaining films, especially the ones coming out this year, and then the Marvels delayed from July to November after poor test screenings, and they have to do reshoots, it seems like Marvel and DC might have taken themselves off the board this year. Add to that a Little Mermaid trailer that did not generate heat. On social media, nobody was talking about it. It got beat by the Oscars and The Last of Us season finale. Let's take another look at the 2023 box office as summer is coming up fast and reconsider what movies could be billion-dollar club entries. Fascinatingly, it's Universal who has the best bets. What do I always tell you? We always think it's Warner Brothers versus Disney, but Universal always comes out of nowhere with a slam dunk. I still think Fast X is this year's best bet to make $1 billion. Sure, the last one fell short, but this one looks fun, has a lot of new blood, and is supersized. Then I'm starting to come around on Super Mario Brothers. I really am. Not only does Illumination have a strong track record at the box office, but Nintendo is a hugely popular brand that's on a roll right now. Even I'm starting to feel it. Even I'm starting to get Nintendo fever, thanks to these lands that are opening across the globe in Universal's theme parks. I'm like, I don't even play Nintendo, and I'd like to go to there. The movie kicks off early at the beginning of April and has the entire month uninterrupted. Really no competition. It's a gimme for Universal. Usually Disney gets the gimmies until Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 kicks off the summer movie season. On that note, let's take a look at Disney's remaining slate. I have a feeling that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is not going to reach $1 billion and might even fall short of Volume 2's worldwide haul of $863. That's pretty high. The holiday special underperformed. I liked it. I thought it was great, but nobody talked about it. It didn't really show up on any of the Nielsen. I don't think it did show up on the Nielsen charts. The trailers have not been hot. People have not really been talking about them a lot. Certainly not any more than they talked about the Quantumania trailers, and look how that turned out. And Gunn is already out the door to DC. Sure, he's done right by Marvel and he's finished up the film. He's given it his full attention. But I think from a fan perspective, he's already Mr. DC. Like how that press tour is going to go, it's going to be promoting his DC work as well, which is going to be awkward. I'm not saying the film won't do well even. I'm just saying I don't see it as $1 billion. As for the Marvels, I think that another round of reshoots had to be ordered after poor test results speaks for itself. Multiverse of Madness survived reshoots and not being very good, but that's because of WandaMania. Wanda, so powerful. And unfortunately, the Marvels doesn't have a character who's that popular. And in fact, some of the characters are downright hated. I hope the movie can turn that around, but it's rough for that movie. It's rough. Again, the movie could do okay. I see that being around 600. Like, let's see how good it is. I've heard good things about the trailer. I don't know. Let's see. But I don't see $1 billion. We're talking about billion-dollar club entries, and I don't see $1 billion there. At one point, I had thought The Little Mermaid would easily make $1 billion, as the other Disney live-action remakes of Renaissance films, the Disney Renaissance, have made it to the billion-dollar club. But now I'm thinking this might be a Mulan-esque situation, not as bad as Mulan, but in that there were so many changes made that the nostalgia factor doesn't kick in, because there is no nostalgia. It basically is a new project. And the whole point of these is to allow people to relive their love of the animated original. I don't believe that all the rumored downvotes are true. I think those apps, as I've told you before, just make up downvotes to get trolls excited and keep using the app because, somebody did it to my reaction video of the Little Mermaid trailer, and I have the likes. I can see them in my YouTube account, and that the likes and dislikes, and that app grossly misrepresented it. However, the lack of chatter on the latest trailer is undeniable, and that's what really concerns me. Could Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny make $1 billion? It would have to be really good. And you know what? Maybe it is. The trailer is visually striking, from a de-aged Harrison Ford in the flashback sequences to one heck of a nifty sequence with that ticker tape parade. And also, they've got the ad campaign started early, and so even though the trailer didn't blow me away the first time I saw it, they keep playing it, and I'm like, I really do like Indiana Jones. But I'm worried about Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. I love Phoebe Waller-Bridge, don't love what Lucasfilm has done with her. And Indy is a tough character to get right. We're still burned by Crystal Skull. We're really burned. That was bad. So again, it could do well, but I think those are roadblocks to $1 billion. As for Warner Brothers, of the DC movies they have left this year, Aquaman 2 and The Flash are their $1 billion contenders. The first Aquaman is the only DCEU movie to make $1 billion, even though everyone always forgets that. It was a great movie. So good. Came out during the holidays when it's cold and was all summery. It was a great film. However, and so, James Wan, you would think he could deliver again. But this sequel has been held for so long, itself undergoing massive reshoots, part of that because it was hacked up as the future of DC kept changing and continues to keep changing, that I'm not sure if the sequel will be able to follow suit. As I've said before, everyone who joins DC ultimately regrets it, and it looks like James Wan is headed for that same support group. Add to that drama Amber Heard, the Amber Heard situation, and the tease that Jason Momoa will switch to Lobo after this for Gunn and Safran. That's the chatter. And James Gunn has said he won't play both, so I think that's just going to be confusing. So you just have another dead movie walking like you did with Shazam 2. The Flash is interesting because it not only has multiple Batman in it, audiences love Batman so much, but the return of Michael frickin' Keaton, a huge fan favorite whose return has a must-see quality. Even for people who are tired of comic book movies, I think not seeing Michael Keaton back in the Batsuit is hard to pass up. However, especially because he has such a big role. It's not just a cameo. He's he's like a co-star in the movie. However, the star of the film, Ezra Miller, remains a huge wild card for the film, and a potential scapegoat with the way Warner Brothers is going, because they don't want to take any personal responsibility for any of these films. But with all and then they have all the teases ripped out of the ending of the movie. So while it's a multiverse movie, it's still a dead end. Basically, the movie would have to be as good as the audience test scores and Tom Cruise say it is. And you know what? Again, maybe it is. And if that were the case, again, with multiple Batman in it, there are three. It could make $1 billion. It could. I could see that maybe happening if the movie really was that good. As for the rest of Warner Brothers' 2023 slate, from what I hear about Barbie, it's too statement heavy about gender politics, and it veers too adult, I think, to be a 4-quadrant film. I don't think it's a family movie. I'm not saying it's not a good movie. I'm not saying it's not going to be a successful movie, but I don't see $1 billion. It's too bad. Barbie, billion dollar Barbie, so it has a nice ring to it. There's also Dune Part 2. Dune! With fantastic additions to the cast. Florence Pugh Pugh, Austin Butler, more Zendaya finally. But the first film only got to 402, so there's no way it's going to more than double that. How about Paramount? They got a rare $1 billion club entry with Top Gun Maverick last year. While they're clearly hoping that Tom Cruise's long-running franchise with them, Mission Impossible, can ride Top Gun Maverick's coattails with Cruise's expanded fandom, and finally bring the Mission Impossible movies into the $1 billion club. They're phenomenal, particularly the Christopher McQuarrie ones, but they've never gotten to $1 billion. And they're far away. It's a stretch. And they have no mustachioed Henry Cavill. I couldn't believe they killed him off. So stupid. We all were like, maybe he has an evil brother? But Top Gun Maverick was a really special movie, and I think there are coattails there, which is why I thought it was weird that Tom Cruise seemed to try to give them to The Flash instead of his own movie. There's also the latest Transformers, and back in the day, Michael Bay got those movies into the $1 billion club eventually. But after his departure, they have not been able to return. They're not even close. And Rise of the Beasts doesn't have any big names, not even Mark Wahlberg level big. So again, I think it could do well, but I don't think it's $1 billion. Sony, they don't have any contenders. They don't have anybody that you could even think might get into the $1 billion club. And I know that Spider-Man is a big brand, and the live-action MCU adjacent movies are now consistently getting into the $1 billion club. The last one almost got to 2. But the non-MCU Spider-Man movies at Sony have struggled. And even though Spider-Verse was clearly the big winner there, and it won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, it struggled at the box office. It got its fandom on streaming when it aired on Netflix for so long. And we've been talking about with Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, it turns out some people don't like that style of animation, so that's a bit of a hurdle for it. I'm not saying Spider-Verse 2 won't eventually find its audience as well, but I think there's a chance it's still not in theaters. The first one only made $384 worldwide. $384! It would have to almost triple its box office, and that's unlikely. Circling back to Universal, do they have any other contenders? Nolan's Dunkirk did manage to get to 527. Maybe the invention of the atom bomb is an easier log line, and it has an all-star cast, and I'm sure stellar visuals. But even Interstellar, which also had incredible visuals, only got to 648. $1 billion could be tough for this movie. But again, this is another Oscar play from Nolan, just like Dunkirk. He's not making it to make a lot of money. I mean, obviously, he's going to get Universal a return on their investment, but I don't think he's even trying to get to $1 billion. So that's an updated look at potential $1 billion club movies for 2023. What movies, with all this new information and how the 2023 marketplace is developing, what movies do you now think have a shot at joining the $1 billion club? Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.